Hello, everyone. My name is Roma Chumak-Horbach. I'm Associate Professor in the School of Early Childhood Studies at Ryerson University in Toronto, Canada. The topic of this video is linguistic diversity. It includes important information for teachers working in language-rich classrooms where learners speak many different languages. Here's the plan for the video. First, I will address two questions. What is linguistic diversity, and why is it important for teachers to understand this term? Following this, I will introduce a new way of understanding linguistic diversity. And finally, I will explain how teachers' understanding of linguistic diversity affects their instructional practice choices. So what is linguistic diversity? How is it defined? A dictionary, always a good place to start, tells us that linguistic diversity means having many different languages. When asked to define linguistic diversity, teachers report the following: many different languages spoken in the classroom, different home languages, learners who do not speak the school language, different language backgrounds, language variety, and a mix of languages. Now let's turn to our second question. Why is it important for teachers to understand linguistic diversity? The answer to this question is straightforward. Teachers' understanding of linguistic diversity directly affects their work in language-rich classrooms. The way teachers understand this term guides and drives their views on bilingualism and multilingualism, the way they integrate newcomers, the instructional practice they adopt, the classroom agenda they plan and prepare, and the way they partner with families. Now let's look at a new way of understanding linguistic diversity, one that shows us that this is more than a language label and a descriptor. In a recent paper entitled "What is Linguistic Diversity?", the authors provide two different ways of understanding this widely used term. The first describes linguistic diversity as divergence. I call this the D view of linguistic diversity. The second describes linguistic diversity as richness. I call this the R view of linguistic diversity. Let's have a closer look. The D view of linguistic diversity is characterized by three Ds: difference, deviation, and dissimilarity. The basis of the D view can be found in the origins of the word diversity, which comes from the Latin diversus and means to turn or go different ways, to part, to separate, and to turn aside. Also included in this view of linguistic diversity are notions of language status, language prestige, language comparison, language otherness, your language, our language, language separation, and at times hostility towards a specific language. Now let's look at the R view of linguistic diversity. This view is characterized by acceptance, inclusion, and enrichment. According to the authors of the linguistic diversity paper, this view has a strong positive meaning. It's founded on the social justice principle of protecting and promoting languages, and it emphasizes the languages of individual learners. As you can see, there's a stark difference between these two ways of understanding linguistic diversity. While the D view focuses on language differences, separation, and otherness, the R view emphasizes the richness, acceptance, and inclusion of all languages. Now let's relate these two very different understandings to instructional practice in language-rich classrooms. Let's start with the D view. In most cases, teachers who follow this view adopt assimilative instructional practice. They believe that newcomers' language situation is a deviation from the norm, that is, from the school language. They focus on school language teaching and learning. They acknowledge cultural differences, and they group, identify, and label newcomers based on their level of proficiency in the school language. Here's an example. In English-speaking countries, Canada, the US, the UK, and Australia, researchers, policymakers, and most teachers identify and label newcomers as non-speakers or incomplete speakers of English. In my 2012 LAP book, I listed 24 labels used in these countries to refer to newcomers who have little or no proficiency in English. In this table, you can see that most of these labels, though circled in red, include the word English and identify newcomers as incomplete learners of the school language. Such labeling in school language identification is problematic for 4 reasons. It marginalizes newcomers. It establishes the school language as the only language worth knowing, learning, and speaking. It discounts newcomers' language and literacy skills, and it ignores the bilingual potential of newcomers. Now let's relate the R view of linguistic diversity to instructional practice. Teachers who follow the R view adopt inclusive or multilingual practice. They view newcomers as emergent bilinguals or bilinguals in the making. They recognize the importance of prior learning. They view all languages as learning resources, and they encourage and support bilingualism and multilingualism. Teachers report that inclusive or multilingual practice engages newcomers in exciting ways. It increases their self-confidence, includes them in the curriculum, improves relations with teachers, increases collaboration with classmates, heightens their interest in literacy, and encourages the development of their home languages. I end this video with 2 takeaway messages. Here's the first one. There are 2 ways of understanding linguistic diversity. One way is to follow the D view, focus on differences, and view all languages in relation to the majority or the school language. This means viewing those who do not speak the school language as different. Another way is to embrace the R view of linguistic diversity, look at languages in a positive, inclusive way, and consider them a curriculum enrichment. And here's the second takeaway message. Teachers' understanding of linguistic diversity directly impacts their work in language-rich classrooms. Teachers who follow the D view of linguistic diversity adopt assimilative practice, focus on the teaching and learning of the school language, give a nod to cultural differences, and overlook the bilingual potential of newcomers. While teachers who hold the R view are guided by social justice and adopt inclusive or multilingual practice. They transform their classrooms into exciting multilingual environments and facilitate and encourage bilingualism. Finally, I encourage you to view this video with your colleagues and talk about linguistic diversity. Identify your own understanding of this important term and think about how it affects your practice and your teaching.